Today, I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to incorporate reading into your life more. And these tips are coming from a stay-at-home mom with 3 young kids who reads about 150 books a year. Hello, I'm Zoe and welcome back to my channel, Zoe's All Booked. If you're new here, welcome to the shit show. If you've clicked on this video, chances are you are either a big reader at some point in your life and that just kind of tapered off, or you weren't ever a reader, but that's something you wanted to try to get into. Either way, these tips should help you incorporate reading into your life a little bit more at whatever stage of life you're in right now. Before I get started, I just want to do a little disclaimer, a little caveat. These tips work for me. Some of them might work for you, some might not. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Let's just jump right into this with tip number 1, which is to actually prioritize reading, but start small. So say it's the end of the night, you're sitting down, you want to watch some TV, you want to throw on a comfort show or a movie, listen to a podcast, something. Before you start doing that, set a timer for 5 minutes and start reading. In my experience, I've found that page count goals are actually less helpful than setting a time goal for sitting down and doing something. Especially if you're a slow reader or you can't concentrate or there's other things going on, time is better than page count. So before sitting down to watch whatever you're gonna watch, do whatever you're gonna do, set a timer for like 5 minutes. Start very, very small and then increase the time as you go on. 5 minutes is a really good starting point. If you're into it, if it's flowing well, if it's going great, keep reading. If not, put your book away. Don't even think about it again until the next day or the next time that you have 5 minutes to sit down and read a little bit. That way it kind of like takes the pressure off. You're not setting a goal of like, I want to get this specific number of pages done. And then if you're anything like me, you beat yourself up because you did not hit that goal. It's a whole thing. A time goal is just much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Manageable than anything. Pro tip. This one actually goes along more with one of my other tips later on in the video. If you're sitting down to watch a TV show or a movie or something, especially if it's an adaptation, try to read something that's similar. So you're getting in the, like you're already in the mindset of what you're gonna watch. Pick up a book that's similar, and there's a really good chance that you'll want to continue reading or that you'll get more into reading right from the beginning. Tip number 2 is audiobooks are your best friend, which is hilarious to me that I'm saying this now because when I started my channel back in December of 2017, one of my first videos, I think it was actually my second video, I said that audiobooks were not for me. And dumbass Zoe from 2017, she didn't fucking know you could speed up audiobooks. That was why I hated them, because they were so boring and so like monotone. I couldn't fucking stand it until I learned that you could speed them up, and I was like, this is my shit. It's so good. I am always listening to an audiobook. My headphone is actually right next to me because I was listening to a book before I sat down and started filming this video. Audiobooks all the time, if you can read them. If not, just skip this tip, go on to the next one. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a long commute anywhere. Like honestly, the most I'm driving is for like 10-15 minutes at a time. I don't have a large chunk of my day that's spent commuting to work. So I like to listen to audiobooks while I'm doing household stuff where I'm not interacting with my kids or my husband or the pets. So when the kids are upstairs playing by themselves and my husband's gone to work, when I'm just doing the dishes or doing laundry or something, I'm listening to an audiobook at all times. Sometimes if the vibes are right, if I'm like really, really feeling music, I'll listen to music. Same thing in the car. I'm usually listening to an audiobook and not music or anything. Before I had my kids, I had a lot of time to just sit down and read. I would crack out like 3 books a day, like 3 chonkers a day. However, with a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 9-month-old, I don't have a lot of fucking time to sit down and read a physical book. I actually have not been able to do that in a while. I just can't really focus on them anymore, which I'll get to after. So audiobooks are the only reason I'm at like 117 books for this year. Pro tip, what I found worked the best for audiobooks with me, speed them up to close to your reading speed or slow it down if you're a slow reader, or to something that sounds like natural conversation to you. If you're a fast reader like me, I go up to the highest speed. Like it sounds like fucking gibberish, but I listen to it at 3.5 or 3 depending on the app. My husband thinks I've literally lost my fucking mind when he hears this, because he's like, there's no way you're understanding it. My thing is, that's almost as fast as I read. So I have to listen to it at that speed or I'm not engaged. Honestly, just try to listen at a speed that's as close to your speed for reading like a physical book as possible. Pro tip part 2, if you are a fast reader but you can't listen to audiobooks that fast, start at a speed that you're comfortable at and slowly increase it. If I'm listening to an audiobook with a narrator whose accent is not close to mine, I have to drop it down to like 2.5 and then I work my way up to whatever the highest speed is once I get used to the voice. Sometimes it'll take me like half the book to get used to it, but I always end up increasing to the highest speed because I just get so invested and I have to. Tip number 3 is to read what you like to watch. This one is more for if you weren't a big reader or you're trying to get into it now at whatever stage of life you're in. If you're really into TV shows or movies or anything like that, pick the kind of stuff you like to watch and find a book that's similar to that. If you're not big into TV shows, movies, whatever, pick a hobby that you're really into and Google books with whatever the hobby is, and there is almost guaranteed to be some sort of book that has whatever your hobby is. Whether it's a fiction or nonfiction, there's gonna be something out there. I see people say it all the time, and it's 100% true. Don't just read what's popular if you're not really into that. Like, if you aren't into dragons and fantasy and spicy books with a lot of sex scenes, don't read the popular romantasy books on Book Talk and Bookstagram. You're not going to enjoy it. Even if it's popular, you're not going to like it. Stay away from it. The same thing goes for reading things that are age appropriate. If you are not into any sort of really like flowery why is that word so hard? Flowery language or anything that's super, super literary, like me, don't go for it just because it's what you should be reading as an adult. Fuck that noise. Read what you like. Read what you enjoy. Don't read what other people think you should be reading. This has been a pet peeve of mine my entire life. Like, literally since I was a teenager and I wanted to read middle grade books still, and in my early 20s and I wanted to read young adult books, and everyone's like, you're too old for that. Shut the fuck up. Let me read what I want to read, okay? And everyone's gonna be happy. If you like reading manga or graphic novels or comic books or whatever it is, and other people are telling you that it's not actually reading, they're lying to you. Read what you want to read. Read what you enjoy. You're going to read more if you're reading in a format that you like, or in a genre or an age group or whatever it is that you actually enjoy. Don't give in to peer pressure. Send them my way if anybody's telling you otherwise, and I will throat punch a bitch for you. It's a little aggressive, but I mean it. If you like true crime documentaries, if you like murder mysteries, if you like the show How It's Made, like literally anything, look for that in book form and you will likely be more engaged. Take my husband, for example. He's not really into fiction. He doesn't like any sort of fantasy elements. Like, he'll watch movies and TV shows like that because I like them, but he would never sit down and read a book that's like that. He would much prefer a biography or something where he's actually learning something. So I would never force him to read fucking Game of Thrones or Throne of Glass or some shit, right? He's not gonna enjoy that. So we're not gonna force him to do that. I'm getting a little ranty here because this one pisses me off so much. Pro tip. Oh, I gotta open the door for Kurt. My husband's home from work. I had to open the door for him. Okay, pro tip. And this one is for like, specifically if you're into TV shows and movies and whatever. If you like a certain actor and you want to see characters that resemble this actor or there's something similar about this actor, search their name and fan cast in books. And you will likely find, especially if it's like a really popular actor. Oh my god, I'm out of breath from running up the stairs. There's a good chance that you'll find that somebody has fan cast this actor as the main character of a book. And there might be a chance that you would actually like that. The book, the genre, anything about it, if you're liking the actor. I just lost my train of thought because I'm so out of breath. Oh my god. Anyways, Google the actor and fan cast, and you might find something in book form that's similar to what you like from this actor in movie form. or TV show, whatever it is. Even if it's just that the actor is very, very attractive, if you search that, you'll likely find a character that is described in a similar way to this actor, and then you can just use your imagination. Tip number 4 is this one is going to sound mighty hypocritical if you've ever been around on my channel. Don't be afraid to DNF. If you're not feeling a book, if you are not liking it, put it down, walk away. Or if you're a nosy bitch like me, just skim to the end, read the last chapter, Google a synopsis with spoilers or something, but just like get to the end so you know what comes next. You know how it ends, you know how it all plays out, and then move on to the next one. I am a self-diagnosed nosy ass bitch, and I need to know. I have never DNF'd a book that I haven't already finished at least once. And it's only happened once where I stopped reading a book because I hated it so much the second time around that I just literally could not continue. If you're able to just put it down and walk away and not think about it constantly for the next 12 years until you read it again, first of all, that's a superpower. Drop the secrets in the comments. Second of all, use that. Use that to your advantage. Don't keep going. You don't need it in your life. Pro tip. The pro tip for this one is for the people like me that are nosy and really need to know how things end. Before you start a book, if there's even like an inkling that you might not like it just based on the synopsis, but you're still curious about it, search the reviews. Search on Goodreads, Amazon, whatever the major chain bookstore is in your country. For me, like, it would be Indigo. And specifically look at the more negative reviews, the 1 and 2 stars. There might be something in there that will help you make a decision more concretely, whether you want to pick it up and read it or you're just gonna pass on it. There have been some books where just based on the synopsis, I'm like, I don't know. And I've gone to look at the more negative reviews, and what was said there didn't bother me that much, and I ended up reading it and enjoying it. On the other hand, there's ones where it's like, this is exactly what I thought was gonna happen. This is exactly what, like, I was afraid of, the parts in the negative review. So I passed on it and I just moved on to something else. Specifically looking up the negative or just like, it's okay, not great reviews, that can be your friend, but not best friend, because that's audiobooks. Audiobooks are your best friend, don't forget. The last tip is one that I have actually been using a lot recently, and it's to change the medium if you're slumping and you don't want to DNF. If you're interested, but for some reason you just can't go back to reading. Change the medium. If you're reading a physical book, switch to an ebook, switch to an audiobook, and any combination of those. This doesn't super work well for manga and graphic novels and whatever. Kind of shit out of luck at that point. I've always found that switching up the medium kind of like jolts my brain. I don't know if this is just an ADHD thing or if it's like a universal thing. I don't know the science behind it because not my strong suit. However, it works. I just finished this one earlier today. Very boring book, which I was so sad because Wicked by Gregory Maguire is one of my favorite books. I started reading this like a year ago, in physical book, and it was so boring I could not continue. So I switched to the audiobook and it got easier. But then my loan for the audiobook was up and I just forgot to get it again. And I finished it today, a year later. I started it again yesterday and I finished it today, and I tried the physical book again. So boring, switched to the audiobook. I could get through it. It was fine. The opposite happened with this one. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Listening to the audiobook was hell on earth. It was fucking torture for me. So boring. Didn't like the narrator. Every voice sounded the same. I was in hell, but I'm like, I gotta finish this. It's for a readathon. I have to. Picked up the physical copy while I was eating one time. I loved it. I loved the writing. I loved the story. It was so much more engaging. The audiobook was just awful. Couldn't do it. Went back to it because I was washing dishes. Torture. Went back to the physical book when I started eating again. Fantastic. The other form happened. It's happening currently with the Animorphs books. I'm doing a vlog like reading them right now. I'm having a hard time reading the physical book. I don't know why. But I switched to the PDFs that the author wanted available online for everybody. And I'm flying through them. And a friend's book, Through Legend They Fall. Loving the book, but I just cannot sit down and focus with a physical book. The ebook is fucking great. I'm like flying. It's fantastic. Somebody explain this to me. Make it make sense. I can't make sense of it, but it fucking works. Pro tip. The pro tip for this one is not some. So here's the thing. My camera battery died and I am not about to go and charge that bitch and wait for it. So we're just gonna finish this here on my phone. Like we're back to the very beginnings of my channel once again. Back to what I was saying. The pro tip for that one, and it's not something that really works for me, but is what's known as immersion reading. I'm pretty sure. Don't come at me if I'm wrong. But it's where you're listening to a book and reading the book at the same time. So like you have an audiobook, you have a physical copy or an ebook or something, and you're listening while you're reading with your eyeballs. That works for a lot of people because it really, really pulls you into the story. I'm not a super huge fan because I read faster than the audiobook and I skip ahead and it just confuses the fuck out of me. So I cannot do it. But if you are a normal person, you don't have that fucking problem, try it. That might really work for you. And that's the end of my 5 tips to try to incorporate reading into your life more. I mean, this is higher up than my other one, so I'm like on my knees right now, and this is fucking awful. Let me know down below in the comments if you've tried any of these tips, if these are similar to any of the things that you do when you find yourself not reading as much, or if you have any other tips that I didn't mention, drop those all in the comments. Spread the love. We all want to read a little bit more. Or if that's just too much or you don't have a lot of time, drop some hearts down below, preferably purple ones because that's my favorite color. As always, to stay updated with my current reads and how I'm feeling about them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, TikTok, and Storygraph, all at Zoe's All Booked, which I will leave linked down below in the description box. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share the video so everyone else can join in on the madness, the chaos, the shit show. With that, we've come to the very end of the video. I hope you all have a wonderful day and get at least a little bit of uninterrupted reading time. I love you awesome nerds, and I will see you in the next one.